You are listening to the Culinary Courtesan, the edutainment podcast about lifestyle, wine, and spirits. Hosted by Yolanda Shoshana. Let's get this party started. Hey, it's Yolanda Shoshana. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Culinary Courtesan. This podcast is all about helping you get off on gastronomy. In this episode, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite things, the chocolate chip cookie. Now, I blame my love and obsession on chocolate chip cookies on my mother. When I was growing up, my mother was an amazing cook. Now, she probably still is. However, Miss Ella is living her best life and has no kids in the house, so she only cooks when she wants to. And my brother and I still get surprised when she says she's cooking. But my mom was also an even better baker. She would make very decadent desserts, sometimes with a little help from Duncan Hines, but her chocolate chip cookies were always made from scratch. She would put them lovingly on the counter as they cooled, and she would give my brother and I one so we could break it in half and have that melted chocolate chip cookie experience that all kids love so dear. And my favorite character on Sesame Street was, of course, Cookie Monster. I love cookies so much that I even have a board on Pinterest called Cookie Monster. So go get that board if you're into different type of cookies. While that features different type of cookies, my favorite will always be the chocolate chip. This cookie is so famous and popular, it has 2 national holidays. The first national holiday is May 15th. If you're like me, you had a couple of cookies that day. I mean, who didn't? Well, maybe you didn't know it existed. But wait. There's another National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day coming up, and that is August 4th, which is why I have cookies on my mind. But then again, when don't I have cookies on my mind? Now, this cookie has a very interesting history, and it has a few different variations of the story that are available if you Google it or look it up. Now, we know who created the cookie. Her name was Ruth Graves Wakefield. She was an American chef and dietitian, and she created the cookie in 1938. Now, some say she created the cookie by accident. She and her husband both worked at the Toll House Inn. See there, Toll House Inn. And in the inn was a restaurant, the Toll House Restaurant. So one day, Ruth is trying to make a batch of cookies, some chocolate cookie. Then she realizes that she's out of baker's chocolate. But then she remembers, you know what? In the cabinet, I have a bar of semi-sweet chocolate that Andrew Nestle gave to me. See where Nestle comes in? So she chops up this chocolate, thinking that the chocolate will dissipate and everything into the cookie and melt. But that's not what happened. The chocolate kept its true form, and voila, the chocolate chip cookie was born. Now, that's the story you're going to see mainly being talked about and passed around. However, there are people that disagree because they said Ruth was on her game. She was a famous and renowned dietitian. There is no way girlfriend would have run out of that baker's chocolate. And it is also said that Ruth admitted that she created the cookie on purpose. She knew what she was doing and even tested it out. And you know me, when there's stories like this, I always say that there's always a mix of the truth in the middle somewhere. Whatever and however this cookie was created, I'm just so glad she did. So the cookie got kind of popular and started showing up. The recipe showed up in a couple of newspapers in New England. The first time that it was ever put into print, the recipe was put in print was in Ruth's book in 1938 called The Tried and True Cookbook, which you can still get to this day on Amazon. So if you love a good historical cookbook, go for it and get it. So that was great. People started making the cookie. But where the cookie really got poppin' was when it was featured on Betty Crocker's radio show. This was the coup. This was it. In the meantime, Nestle is like, wait a minute. Our chocolate is selling like hotcakes. This is good for business. This is absolutely amazing. Let's keep this up. And then they realized people do not want to sit around beating bars of chocolate to create cookies. So they could put it in morsel form. Thank goodness for that. Ruth decides, okay, let me work with Nestle. Let me get a little something out of this. So she goes and she talks to the Nestle people. They agree on her getting $1 and chocolate for life. Now, Ruth said she never got that $1. However, Nestle did hire her as a consultant. So let's hope she got it back tenfold. So that is how the cookie started to get popular. But once Nestle had the rights to use the recipe, what they did was they went a little further. During World War II, they started putting out ads saying, why don't you send soldiers fresh baked, hot cookies? So people started taking their money and buying chocolate chip morsels and then creating the cookies and sending them overseas to people they loved so near and dear. And that is also how the love of the cookie started to spread and how the cookie came to be the phenomenon that it is. Then in around the 1950s, Toll House and Pillsbury put out the refrigerated cookie dough because they realized people ain't got time to be mixing up cookie dough all the time. I mean, it's always nice to do it, but when you can cut a corner and you are in a hurry, it's nice to get that prepackaged dough. And then here comes Nabisco with their Chips Ahoy in 1963. They were the first to put pre-made cookies, chocolate chip cookies, on the market, and they are still popping today with all their different types of flavors, so many that I lose track. And after that, you got your Famous Amos, you got your Debbie Fields, you got your Otis Spunkmeyer. Interesting fact about Otis Spunkmeyer: Otis Spunkmeyer has not done well in the UK because the slang term for semen is spunk. I mean, imagine you're in England and someone offers you a Otis Spunkmeyer cookie. Awkward, right? So yeah, not so well in the UK. So the official cookie for Massachusetts and Pennsylvania is the chocolate chip cookie. But of course, the top selling chocolate chips to this day is still from Nestle. Now, it'd be hard to dethrone them. It's kind of like Coca-Cola. You're the first person there, unless they do something crazy. Though there's some really great chocolate chips on the market. My second favorite, or my first favorite, it's hard. I go between Toll House and Ghirardelli. They're semi-sweet. Those are the chips I stick with to make my cookies. I don't dip into the Hershey's so much. They're all right. I mean, in a bind, I guess I would use them, but not my favorite. What's your favorite chocolate chip? Do let me know. But lots more to choose from. I haven't used the chips from Trader Joe's. I know people use them. I know there are probably some famous chips just with Trader Joe's on them, but I don't know. I just have a thing for using Toll House, I guess, because of my mom. So those are the cookie facts. And when I'm not making them or using the pre-made dough, I love going to Jock Torres and getting a chocolate chip cookie. If you have not had a Jock Torres chocolate chip cookie, you have not lived. They're delicious. If you are ever in New York, step into one of his shops. I don't know where else he has shops, but you can have cookies shipped to you along with his chocolate. Do it. I've taken people into the store just to watch them eat the cookie and have that orgasm. Normally when you go into the shop, they have them on a warmer, so you can even get it warm. Oh yes, it's an experience. So I also don't mind Pepperidge Farm. Pepperidge Farm is not a bad cookie. The Nantucket would be my favorite. So I hope that on National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day that you enjoy some cookies, whether you make them or go buy them or whatever. Just make sure you get them in. Another little tip, what I really love to have with chocolate chip cookies is a little bit of cognac. Just a nice little bit of cognac, neat, or you could have it on the rocks. Just a little bit, just a little to sip. It goes so great with that brown sugar and the butter and the chocolate. Ooh, delish. Whatever cognac you like. And if you haven't had it yet, try it. And if you're not a cognac drinker, you can always go with a nice bourbon. You know, just a little something to wash it down. It's perfect. I mean, of course there's milk, but when you have bourbon or cognac, why not? So let me know what cookie you decide to eat. If you have a magical recipe you want me to know about, send it to me. I also have a chocolate chip cookie recipe on my site that has gotten me offers of marriage. So check that out if you are looking for a cookie recipe. I'm telling you, people propose. It's that good. Thank you so much for tuning in. Sign up for my newsletter, Pompette. Stop by my website, YolandaShoshana.com. It links to everything. Everything. You can also follow me on Instagram at Yolanda Shoshana, Twitter, Shoshi. And until next time, peace, love, and cheers.